Hello, folks. Welcome to the Community Curation Podcast. I am your host, the Gothic Storyteller, aka James Howe. And with us, usually sometimes I'm on the other end of the screen, it's our friend Siren. How are you doing today, lovely?
Doing good. How about yourself, my dear?
I'm doing good. As always, pre-day or the day of jitters. Yeah, I gotta go out, I gotta walk, I gotta do anything to get all this energy off of me so that I'm somewhat calm and everything to sit there and get the interview going. Um, For those of you folks that do not know the wonderful Siren, she is a Twitch streamer who I believe also started elsewhere, correct? Were you not first?
Us. Yeah, started over on Mixer.
That was even way before even I started streaming and everything. I knew some people that like I came from Mixers, like, what's that? And like, yeah, I was like, they were like, I didn't last that long and everything. But she came from Mixer and everything, but I knew her solely as a Twitch streamer, who has a wonderful, wonderful, awesome community. Always hype up. I never really catch a dull moment. It's always like high energy going. Her chat goes crazy and wild. It's a wonderful place to sit there and be. And I am so happy today that we get Siren. Uh, let's keep it spooky on the slab for today as the interview and everything. So tell us a little bit more
Yes.
about yourself.
Let's see. I have been streaming over on Twitch for coming up on about 5 years now. I'm a mama to two absolutely amazing boyos, which the oldest just hit 10 yesterday. So that was a big accomplishment. Kept the human alive for 10 years. We're doing good. I'm also a student and a avid sleepy girl.
Avid sleep. That's a mood. I've been extremely
Yeah,
sleepy here. It's like the end of winter coming into spring, and all I want to do is just sleep and everything.
exactly.
You mentioned students, so you're going for what's the professional term for your hairstyling?
So I was actually a cosmetologist, or I've been a cosmetologist for over a decade now. It wasn't providing the lifestyle that I wanted to give to my children, so I decided after COVID, it was time to go back to school and started going for my bachelor's in cybersecurity. Some things got rocky, and now I'm going for my associates in systems and applications and also getting a certification as a game dev.
Fucking awesome. And everything. I
Mhm.
do remember cosmetology because I think whenever I did come into your community, that's when like, I think didn't you have the head on stream one time and I think you were doing some work? Or maybe you were just showing off the
Maybe
head.
I might have been messing around with one of my mannequin heads.
Yeah, because I remember when like I saw it, like me being the wrestling fan, all I thought it was Al Snow. So like I just wanted to just spam in your chat, head, 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 head. Oh my god. I love that and everything. So do you think about going back into cosmetology? Maybe once you get through the current scrolling?
So I still do hair from home. I don't think I'll go back to doing it in a shop setting. It's a really dramatic field,
Yeah.
and I'm not about it. Really dramatic, really competitive. It's just, eh, and
Yeah.
unless if you have had that time built up building your name, starting out new, it can take years to build a clientele again.
Yeah. That's fair and everything because I would sit there and say it's like, well, if you still want to do it, it's like there's always film. You're not that far from,
Fair.
you're not that far from Hollywood. Like you could
Oh, that'd
just
be
be on
scary.
there day one, just blow drying, I don't know, fucking Hugo Weaving's, little hairpiece or something like that. And
There we go.
it's like, I loved you as the Red Skull, man. Even better as, Mr. Anderson. Oh my
Perfect.
God. But streaming, what got you into streaming? You Septa said you did start off on mixers, so what got you into there?
So I actually got into streaming with an ex. We kind of started it off as like a little couples, what's it called? Hobby, I guess, or whatever. And then I fell in love with it. I saw everything that it had to offer and like the friendships that could flourish from it. And obviously that cut off years ago, but I decided to continue on with it and see where I could go on my own. And here we are. Actually, about 6 months after going off on my own, that's when Mixer put out the thing of, hey, we're shutting down. Like, you can either move all your followers over to Facebook Gaming or start fresh over on Twitch. And I'm like, you know what? Perfect chance. So we went over to Twitch. And yeah.
You've been there ever since, correct? Like, did you try Kick or any of the other?
I do have a Kick account, but I don't stream on it. I just made the account to reserve my name. So okay. I have my opinions on Kick that, yeah.
Oh, I know. It's like anytime that like I go there, it's like going to your favorite shopping center. Like, this is where I get everything, my groceries, my DVDs, whatever. And then you go over to this new area and you're all like, where the fuck, like, where is everything at? Because you get so damn used to it's like, you know, I feel that way, especially when like I listen to radio stations. If I don't listen to the buzz and I listen to some other rock station, I was like, God, it's like cheating on your significant other. It's so dirty.
It's a whole different world. It's
you just feel so dirty. You want to take a shower. You want to like maybe like you pray for forgiveness or something.
Right. I'm sorry. Take me back.
Oh my God. So for your time on Twitch, is there anything that you would like to sit there and share with any possible newbie streamers that are watching this, or maybe even like some veterans that have been at it? Like, is there like anything you feel like you've learned on this journey so far with Twitch?
Just be transparent. Build a community based off of transparency. Don't try to build it based off of a character that you want to present. The more real you are with people, the more connected and real the friendships can be, so you get more of a real support system that way, which, I mean, isn't that what we actually want? We don't want people that are just going to get ticked off at the first negative thing that we say that they don't agree with. We're all human. We're all allowed to have our opinions, and it's just creating a respectable common space for people to feel safe and loved no matter what is probably number one in my opinion. And always freaking raid out at the end of your stream. Like, meet new friends, even if it's somewhere you've never gone. Go expand. You never know.
I've been really wanting to sit there and do that a little bit more, where like generally I always have like my group of people that I tend to go straight, like, right off into, and I love and I cherish them like so dearly. It's all like, they're succeeding, I'm gonna go contribute to their success. It's like, guys, I go over there and show my friends this love and that love and everything. And then like there are also times it's like, you know what, like maybe I should like look for someone new, maybe like in the same category, because
Right.
it's like, it's like, well, like, my community just like watch me paint for 2 hours. Let's go find another painter and let's continue that trend, that chill trend of, maybe we'll find the next Bob Ross on there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like one of the big things that I've noticed from your time here on Twitch is your awesome community. Very, very supportive and everything, especially your mods. Oh my God, I love your mods. I love Fiona. I love Halloween Chick. Like,
I adore them.
Me too. Like, I always lurk in their streams, and you gotta sit there and you gotta support them and everything. And I just absolutely treasure them. So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you manage such a very vocal community?
I mean, just having fun. I just keep in conversation. If you notice like things are kind of dying down, just ask a question. Ask people about themselves, get to know them. Keep in contact too. If you have an off day, don't feel bad to reach out and say, hey, like, I'm having a rough day, can you hear me out? Because then you create those friendships of, I can rely on you when something's going wrong on stream to take care of the situation without me even having to say a word. I could just give a look and people will know. Just communication, getting to know them, taking that time to build that friendship, that relationship.
And
It's all time.
that's what I really love about it, because even whenever I do come in, you always make the time for, everyone. Like, you say your hellos, you check in on them. There are times you've even went out and DM'd me and be like, "Hey, how are you doing? Like, it's been a while." And I'm over here, it's like, "Oh shit." Like, and then there's like that heavy crake in me. It's all like, she's bored. She's like,
I just like to
she
check in. Like when I can, it's like, hey, so what you doing over there? What's new with you?
Yeah, well, like, so here's one thing I really have to ask, and maybe you can sit there and give me the answers I've been looking for. How do you handle reaching out to so many like other people in your community? Um, because like we all sit there and know that you only have so much time in the day. So like, the other members of your community, whether they're streamers or not, like, how do you find the time to reach out to them and kind of keep in contact and everything? Like, do you like just in exchange off days where like you go and you hang with them, or like how do you handle that?
I think a lot of it comes from my own personal history of like wishing at certain points in my life, we all deal with our silent struggles. We're not always going to reach out and, say what's up. But there's been times in my life where I wish that somebody would just message me and say, hey, how have things been? What's new? What's going on? So I feel like that kind of gives me the fuel to have the energy to be able to do that, because I want to try and counteract that for as many people as I possibly can. I mean, obviously I can't do it for everybody, but I try. If I notice somebody's acting off, or there's like the little vent here spot that we have in the Discord, I look in on that, and if I see somebody posting up, I'm like, hey, you need somebody to talk to, you're not alone, because I've been there and it sucks, and I don't want anybody to ever feel that. I don't know, just kind of do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Make your dreams come true. Yeah.
Exactly. Just having that one person say, I believe in you, you're doing great, keep it up, can completely change your day, or just any instance that you're in.
I agree and everything. And hopefully, for also those that are like wondering, hopefully Siren hear about handling a community and her time on Twitch, hopefully that can inspire you guys and everything. But now we're gonna sit there and we're gonna get into the Tim Burton theme of tonight's episode, or day, whichever time. It's still daytime outside for us, so it's considered daytime. So a lot of these films, most of you guys have all sat there and seen. These are probably also diehard. Like this is like the lore of my childhood. It started with this film and everything. Tim Burton has become such an icon in our childhoods, in our adulthoods, and just continues on. Like, I feel like the moment that you discover him, you always find out he finds a way to come back in your life, regardless if you think you know it or not and everything. There's something of his that always slips back in, and we're going to talk about the first one, which is kind of like one of his earlier hits. I think this one came out right after Pee-wee's big film. I think that's what it was called and everything. I think this one like came out right afterwards. But we're going to talk about Beetlejuice. So why did you pick Beetlejuice? What does Beetlejuice mean to you? I said that 3 times, right? Shouldn't it appear?
I wish. I don't know. Beetlejuice was one of those just like movies that I remember as a kid that you throw in the VHS and you push play and you rewind and push play and rewind. Just the whole aspect of it was so creative and fun, and the creepy vibes to it just struck a string in my heart that filled me with glee. I don't know how to really explain it, but the sandworm, I just want to boop him on the snoot. It'll always hold a special place in my heart. The concept of it, I think, was what really got me the most, just moving into this house and or dying, and then having this like little man appear in this model and be like, hey, welcome to the dead, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you get transported to this world where there's people without their heads and this and that and the other. You're just like, wow. And the time that it was made on top of it all is just, it was a movie like no other that I'd seen in my childhood.
It's like a haunted house meets The Exorcist, with Beetlejuice being the bio exorcist, of course.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why Tim Burton sat there and thought that maybe moving off into the afterlife, it's almost like a trip to the DMV. That almost feels like that's more hell, you know? Because
Well, yeah.
no one wants to be there, and you even see like how most of these people, they look just so depressed and miserable, and I'm all like, do they stay this way forever? You know, we kind of get a little bit more in the sequel, but
Well, but then you get Beetlejuice walking up in there being like, yo, what's up? Like,
yeah,
hey guys,
you
everything's
know,
good. We're dead. Let's fuck some shit up. Like, all right.
yeah, he is the de facto party man that I ended up, I don't think I sent you the video, but I watched a video earlier today that mentioned that apparently he's the id of our subconscious, of like he is the part of our brain that is like, are you horny? Be horny and everything. Like whenever he has the little horns come out of him and everything, and then he's gonna go
Yes.
to the brothel, and then Alec Baldwin's wife is like, all like, why did you make that there? He's like, I didn't, and everything, and it's all like, you know, if there's something he wants to do, he does it. And
Yeah.
there's a positivity in that of like, yeah, we really kind of wish we can just do what the first thing our mind thinks. But like also too in this film, we kind of sit there see what's the connotations of that, as like he's trying to take Lydia and marry her, which in modern day connotations it's kind of creepy and everything. It's like you are like a
Right.
like how old dead guy and everything, and you're trying to marry off like a 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Like you tried to steal her away from her family, but to gain what, mortality again?
Uh, and speaking of Lydia and Beetlejuice and everything, which one do you think you vibe the most with?
Well, honestly, I could see it being a clear through and through, especially now that the fact that I'm a mom. Like, I just love her character, period. She is fucking phenomenal, and I can't remember Winona Ryder, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, her whole vibe is just amazing, and she is a timeless being within herself, in my opinion.
Was she like, I guess like also like a bit of the inspiration of just your whole outlook
Oh
and
yeah.
everything on how you do, like was little Siren watching Lydia Dietz like, I want to be like that when I grow up?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah. I was like, she's so pretty. My parents are sitting there like, but she's so dark. It's so scary. I'm like, I love this. This is so cool.
yeah, like I kind of feel most definitely our parents don't really quite understand our, I don't want to sit there and say it's like an obsession, because sometimes an obsession can be viewed as unhealthy, but the pure love and enthusiasm for the macabre. And I just think that like instinctively, I feel like also too that is a bit of our childhood that we just refuse to let die, and we let that like just breathe in us, like we accept it so much. And now that's like kind of like why we all look weird and everything compared to our parents, because like even our parents were at one point that same thing, like no matter what, ever since the horror film, I think kids have been going there, they love it, but somewhere in between there, some of them kind of deter away from it. They're like, okay, that's just for kids. And then some of us are like, dude, we're gonna make movies out of this. Like we're gonna
Oh yeah.
we're gonna sit there and fuck some parent up to the point that their kids are like, I want to do that, or I think that's cool. It's like
Asking for a Chucky doll for Christmas.
well, like what was it? I found out from one of my buddies and everything who has like a kid. Um, he had his kid watch Terrifier. Like his kid's like 10. His kid's 10 and everything. But I'm like,
Oh god.
I was like, you let your child watch Terrifier, and now I kind of feel like that one adult that it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you and everything. But I'm like over here, it's like I was watching Monster Squad, Gary Oldman's freaking Dracula. I was watching some stuff maybe I shouldn't have watched aged appropriate, but now I feel like the adult, and it's all like what's going on here and everything. Why is this kid watching this film? They should not be watching this. And
Well, I remember when I was about 7 or 8, I was at my babysitter's house and we were just watching movies. And I pop in Poltergeist. That was my first scary movie that I that I
Ooh,
ever
that's a
saw.
good one.
Yeah, and my mom found out. She was pissed, but I loved it. I mean, it gave me nightmares slightly for a little while afterwards, but like that really kicked in the horror love or
Yeah,
passion.
the passion for the horror genre, and then you found your way here, the Beetlejuice.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like I think my first film ever seen as a child, it was The Exorcist, which explains so much
Oh,
of what's
okay.
wrong with me. It was that, or I think it was Friday the 13th part. I think it was 4, because I
Mhm.
remember seeing Tommy Jarvis, like the little kid version, and like the little rain slicker, and like Jason's murdering these people out in the rain, and like Tommy's like hiding, but Jason knows he's right there. And me as a kid, I'm like, oh crap, he's gonna get him and everything.
Right.
And like ever since then, I was hooked to this genre and everything because of my mom. And I didn't need a babysitter to screw me up. Like my mom did all that for me. She's like, here, shut up and like let's watch this movie together on the couch. And like, bam, it was either Exorcist or it was Friday the 13th Part 4, and I'm all like, I've been hooked ever since then. Um, uh, Before we wrap up for Beetlejuice, I do want to
Mhm.
ask you, what are your thoughts on the sequel, Beetlejuice?
I really liked it. I wasn't, opposed to it. I like to take things as, their own little creativity thing. I thought the aspect of the kid that her daughter fell in love with was a great loop to throw into the whole film.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, I felt it was done pretty well. And I love how they brought back the red dress too.
Oh,
Oh,
I think
yes.
the whole ending of that film, where there's the whole wedding ceremony, like I feel like that was the image Tim Burton had for like, all right, this if I'm gonna make this movie, it's gotta be this one specific scene. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That felt like I guess to kind of use like writers terms, like that was like the spine, or the
Right.
yeah, I think that's what it's like. That was like the spine of like, that's the reason I want to build all of this for, was everything that we go for it was to get to this scene. The whole, everyone's like an influencer in there, and like they have their cell phones. He's like no phones, and like he practically turned them into like their own like face filters. And like I was
Yep.
like, oh, that was cool. Like I remember the teaser for that, and they showed that, and I'm all like, this could be good. But then like
Yeah, they did really well.
I felt very the um divisive for that film, because like I always feel like it's a love it or hate it film. There is no in between. There's a lot of people that don't like it and everything. I love it for the aesthetics quality and that funeral scene, but like when I start
Hmm.
nitpicking at like the plot and everything and the story, I'm like, over here it's all like, look, they wanted to get here. They had a pretty good build up, but you lost me in the middle and everything.
Right.
You kind of lost me here in the middle, but you know what? I'm happy the piece of shit boyfriend gets his just due, uh, which again is a nice little twist, because it's practically, she went through the same thing her mother went through as a child.
Hmm.
That whole history repeat. If you folks know, you know. But yeah, I loved every bit about that. They just made him look normal and not so freaky looking like Beetlejuice. My
Right.
also thing too is, I really do wish that there was more history and more of an explanation for um Beetlejuice's ex-lover.
Right.
I
I did
wanted more
like
of
her
her.
integration because she
Yeah.
was freaking insane.
Yeah.
But
I felt like
yeah, I wish there was something more.
she was the Deus Ex Machina of all, like, well, how are we gonna get rid of Beetlejuice this time? Like, do we say his name 3 times again? It's like, let's just bring his ex-wife involved. And it's all like, that's genius. And it's all like, yeah, where was she? It's like,
Yeah,
I
right. What happened there?
I forgot the actress's name, but absolutely freaking beautiful.
Hmm.
She was one of uh the Brides of Dracula and the Coppola version with Gary Oldman.
Okay.
So it's funny enough that, like, she had her roots in horror, and now like look at her, she's doing like this horror comedy and everything, and she's playing this very like, don't fuck with her badass woman who is gonna sit there and quite literally drain you of what's left of your life essence.
Yeah.
But
Succubus. It says that
yeah,
staples herself back together. I was like, fuck yeah.
that was an excellent introduction scene of like she pops herself out and Danny DeVito's over here buffling floors, which it's like, what kind of job is that in the afterlife? It's all like, you're a floor buffer. It's like, I wonder if you were that in your real life. Like, that's depressing. Or maybe that's the penance. Maybe that's their version of hell. And it's all like, in
Right.
order to move on, you have to do your penance. And maybe DeVito was like, I was a shitty fucking floor polisher in life, and I'm gonna be a shitty one in the after one too, and everything. And Willem Dafoe, I loved Willem Dafoe's character.
Oh God. Willem Dafoe.
He was like the new I guess like acting agent, kind of like where the old woman was in the original one. He was the
Okay.
one in there that
Yeah.
kind of made sure to keep shit in line, because he played an actor and everything, and now he's like an actor playing an actor who is playing kind of like a, I don't want to sit there say like an agent, but essentially it's like a member of this whole business of law.
Yeah,
Like
because they were supposed to get married, right? Those two? Am I thinking of the right character? Winona's character and then his.
Winona was supposed to give herself up to Beetlejuice if Beetlejuice can help get her daughter back alive. And he was the guy, essentially kind of like the cop of like I gotta maintain the law and order of the living and the dead. They cannot mingle. He was practically like a cop.
Okay.
Like he had like the part of his head that was like, it looked exposed.
That's
but
right, like the
it looked like
Terminator looking dude.
Yeah, he looked like he
I
was more
remember him
painted.
as the Goblin. That's like the character I remember him as is Goblin.
Oh, the Green Goblin. Yes. Okay. I'm like, the
Yep.
Goblin. And I'm thinking Labyrinth. It's all like, was he Green Goblin? I was like, no. Okay.
No.
I was like, I know what you mean. But moving on, we're going to move on to, which I think is practically everyone's favorite childhood feature. You've seen it probably over 1 million times, and you'll watch it over 1 million times again because it's just that timeless. I think it's our generation's equivalent of Santa Claus Comes to Town for like our previous generations community. But The Nightmare Before Christmas, what was it about this film that drew you in?
The entirety of it. I mean, the more I learned about it, the more I loved it. Like the fact that it was all like the stop motion stuff, to put it all together was just a fantastic piece itself. The music, the storyline, the characters. I didn't really care much for Sally. I loved Jack and Zero's aspect. I haven't gotten to read the Pumpkin Queen book yet, but I do have it. I would like to see, her expanded and brought to more of a strong position, not so like, oh no, damsel in distress. But I get it in the whole point of Nightmare Before Christmas. Just, I loved it. All in all, it was just one of those ones that you see and you just instantly jive with. And then the fact that it came out the same year that I was born is freaking awesome.
That was 93, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was my year. The year that we were born, we were not only blessed with The Nightmare Before Christmas, but we were blessed with Hocus Pocus. So
fair, true.
Yeah, 2 Halloween classics all in 1 year and everything, and I think that one wasn't even sit there and considered a classic first. I think it was considered a failure, and then like it became the cult status that it was.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, like also too, this was, I think the year that Hocus Pocus came out was, I think, also the year that its film director Mick Garris was also doing Stephen King's The Stand, which still holds the testament of time. It's one of the best Stephen King adaptations for television. But like, you probably know Mick Garris from probably a lot of like Stephen King's adaptations in the 90s. He did Sleepwalkers. He did Desperation in the 2000s. Ride the Bullet. I'm trying to think of anything else. I know in the 90s he also did Critters too. So if you're a fan of those little furry ball dudes that like shoot the quill and like put you to sleep, and yeah, he directed the sequel to that, which is technically an Easter film. So yes, Critters is in fact a biblical film now. Critters 2, it's a biblical film. Takes place on Easter. They even eat the Easter bunny on church grounds.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking fun too. So if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it and everything. All those children coming out they're all like, "Yay, we're gonna go Easter egg hunting. Where's the Easter bunny?" And the Easter bunny's screaming bloody murder, covered in blood, as like the critters are inside his suit eating the dude alive.
Right.
And yeah, it's freaking great and everything. Back to our nightmare. I'm sorry, folks. If you guys are normally here, you guys know how many like side quest paths that we go through here. The real big question for Nightmare Before Christmas, is it a Halloween or a Christmas movie?
It's an all year movie.
Oh, you think it's all year? You can even watch it on President's Day?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Jack's identity crisis. I sent you the video and everything, the midlife crisis. What do you think about that? Where essentially Jack going on this whole adventure because he feels kind of stale and bored with being the Pumpkin King, that he has to go hijack a whole nother holiday just to please himself. Like, do you believe that that's like a midlife crisis? Or
I mean, looking at like actually looking into the film and taking a step back and thinking about it, yeah, I can definitely see their point with it all, because it's just like they said, what was it? Something that I've never known or something like that. The lines within the songs, they would just highlight different points, and it was like, oh shit, like I never thought about it in that mindset before. So I definitely see a linear path with, you know,
Yeah.
the correlations.
And especially with the actor, or not actor, musician that sang Jack's parts, Danny Elfman. He was at the same time. This was, I think, really his third collaboration, I believe, with Tim Burton's productions and everything, because he had done Batman, and no, so it'd be fourth, because I think he did Pee-wee as a score. Then he did the two Batman movies, Batman and Batman Returns, because the reason this film wasn't directed specifically by him and by Henry Selick was because Burton was directing Batman Returns, I believe, at this time. That it was getting made, and so like Danny Elfman was going through that transition of being in the band Oingo Boingo, and like now it's like he's doing the score for The Simpsons. He did the Simpsons theme song and everything. He's working all into Hollywood, and it's like it's more or less like, oh, I kind of really want to go back on the road and make music, but there's this other thing, and it's like, what do I do with my life? Like the crisis and whatnot, and I gotta sit there say, not a fan of Danny Elfman back then, but him today, all tatted up, he's a pretty man. He's a very pretty man. I'll outright sit there and say it and everything. He's a very pretty dude. Um, but yeah, the midlife crisis and everything, Jack, and I do want to mention, you mentioned the Pumpkin Queen. That's a book
Mhm.
and everything. What does that entail exactly?
I guess it's like an expansion off of the movie, and like kind of more through Sally's perspective, and then like the continuation on. And I think she has to go on a mission to save Jack from Eastertown, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
So just from reading the cover, I think she's got to go on a mission to save somebody.
okay.
I haven't gotten to really touch it yet, but yeah, when it came out, I pre-ordered it before it was even released, because I had to. I just had to have it on my shelf. Period.
With just being a fan of the franchise, it's like I must have this piece.
Oh yeah.
I always wondered why there was never, which I'm kind of glad there's no sequels to it. But I've always kind of like wondered, it's like, what do those other worlds look like in Tim Burton's vision? Like, what does Eastertown look like? And I know that they've done a video game, which is Oogie Boogie's Revenge, which you go through some of the
Ooh.
other it's like almost like a sequel. It's the closest thing to a sequel that we get, and
Right.
you end up, it's Lock, Shock, and Barrel, of course, the fucking three misfitted children and everything. They somehow bring Oogie Boogie back and everything, and now Jack has to go through all of the worlds to go sit there and save the day, fix those worlds and everything, and then stop Oogie Boogie. But now, like, you have this Pumpkin Queen. I was like, all right, well, now we got more expanded lore. Now
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go find that book.
Actually, give me 1 second here.
As we got a doggy cameo. This is our first
Yes.
animal cameo in a while and everything. So
Really?
yes, because I do believe Myth's baby Cam, I think, popped up And then of course we had Layla's Kratos and everything. So we always love an animal cameo and everything. Like I think it really does. It shakes up the episode. It's like, look, everyone, it's a beautiful, cute little puppy and
Yeah,
everything.
they're on their ass in a circle.
Which, folks, he does do that an awful lot. If you've been to Siren Stream before, this is typical. What's the baby's name again?
This is Decoy.
Decoy.
Yeah,
Perfect
this is
name.
Decoy.
That's a decoy and everything. While Siren looks up this book, he shakes his ass for you.
Yeah, it says when Sally and Zero accidentally uncover a long hidden doorway to an ancient realm called Dreamtown, she'll unknowingly set into motion a chain of sinister events that put her future as Pumpkin Queen and the future of Halloween Town itself into jeopardy. Can Sally discover what it means to be true to herself and save the town she's learned to call home, or will her future turn into her worst, nightmare? So kind of like her struggle after Jack comes back and becomes Pumpkin King again.
Oh, okay. Because, like, I mean, she didn't already struggle enough to begin with. I always felt like she was
Yeah,
like an
you
abuse
know.
victim because, the guy who made
Freaking
her essentially,
Finkelstein.
yeah, and everything, big ass head and everything, and I always love that she's drugging him, and I'm all like, he's in a wheelchair, just pull the battery out. He's essentially defenseless.
I was like, give her more of a, something. Give her more spotlight. And that's a reason why I liked the live action Aladdin, was because you saw more of like Jasmine's perspective with it. We need that for Sally too.
Yeah, we always felt like I always kind of felt like Sally's character was also like an audience member. Like, she's supposed to be the audience member. How we view too. It's like, we know what's right for Jack. Jack, please don't sit there and do this foolish escapade and everything. And we're agreeing with her. And then like Jack's all like, I'm gonna do whatever I want because I'm in a manic situation. Yes. Also too, for folks that do love this film, I do have some more films from Henry Selick that you guys could also check out if you guys haven't already seen it. He was known for James and the Giant's Peach, Monkey Bone, Coraline, which we did cover in Layla's episode. That was Layla's, I think, favorite pick and everything, and Wendell and Wild. Henry sadly does not have a very long, extensive filmography. He does a lot of behind the scenes stuff when he got into the industry. Like, he was like an assistant animator for like the stop motion claymation stuff. But supposedly, and this is sadly only 8 years old, but it's Hollywood. You never know what's going to happen. Henry Selick of Nightmare Before Christmas could quite possibly be working with the Russo brothers to make a Little Nightmares series. And I always feel like the Little Nightmares was just a much more twisted, demented version of what Nightmare Before Christmas was. Just that type of world of like wonder and grim, dark, gothic aesthetic. I haven't actually played it, so I don't really sit there and know the story of Little Nightmares, but I've seen other streamers play it, and it's always been so beautiful and visual and creepy looking and everything. So, bless you.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on Little Nightmares? A Little Nightmares series.
Can you not right now, please?
I love this. He's like, I want love, Mom.
It's brother's turn, though. I will definitely be checking it out. I mean, just because of the fact that I love Nightmare Before Christmas, so anything that is kind of a spin-off of it, I'm interested in seeing. Like, there was rumor of the live-action one for a little while there. I don't know what happened with that, but
I don't know. I could see a live-action Sally, but how would you do Jack? He's just bones.
CGI. Like, look at the Mummy. Like, it wasn't necessarily the best, but we've had some time since then.
Yes, because I was about to just say, well, if you look at the first Mummy, he was hidden in the dark most of the time for his CGI bits. And
right.
Yeah, so, yeah, they could go through, as long as they don't pull, like, what they did with The Rock and The Mummy 2, where, you could definitely tell they were not done with the CGI of that. Like, even believe it or not, I think The Mummy 2 is far superior than the first Mummy, even though it doesn't have Benny in it, and I love Benny, you know, in that movie and everything. But like when you look at like the storytelling and the action and the excitement,
Right.
even like knowing that okay, there's more than just the like Emotep as the threat. There's the Scorpion King that's been talked about and you know hyped up, and then he finally shows up, and I'm all like, oh god, they look like they look
What
like
the
they
fuck is that?
just recently like sculpted him, and they didn't give enough time for like the
Go.
definition. Like to me, that was peak Mummy franchise. I didn't care too much for the we don't talk about the Scorpion King and the Mummy 2. Scorpion King the movie by itself was actually a fun one too. It was just
Yeah.
I just think the studio should have just given them another month, and they probably that would have made that movie a lot better. But seeing Jonathan smack around a bunch of mummified monkeys as they're trying to eat everyone, that was pure fucking fantastic and everything. I love that fucking film. Um and to sit there and have Evie, I forgot what Brendan Fraser's character's name was, and they're having their son recreate the famous library scene, but it's all the ancient texts, and it's like, you just like destroyed like history, son. And he's like, I'm okay, and it's all like, oh no, you're not. Dad's gonna, you know, strangle the shit out of you. Rick, there you go, Rick O'Connell, if I remember correct. That was his name. We are gonna sit there and swing on over to our final film of today, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Oh my god, just recently revisited myself. Thank you, Siren, for having me revisit this.
Absolutely.
This one is actually directed by Tim Burton, written by John Logan, which we'll get into later. But first off, your thoughts on Sweeney Todd. What made this your number one in the pick?
Just everything to it. I love good musicals. Freaking, oh god, fuck. Across the Universe, World's Greatest Showman, shit like that. I love seeing good musicals. You put a gothic flair to it, I'm gonna love it even more. Like my best friend showed me it back when we were teenagers, and we would just sit there and always be jumping around, singing along with the freaking songs, and it was just everything was tied together so beautifully. And Johnny Depp's always a win.
The film has one hell of a fucking cast, because it's not just Johnny Depp. It's of course Helena Bonham Carter. You know, like when is Tim Burton not casting her in anything? That's his go-to. You have Jamie Campbell Bower. Now, if that name does not ring a bell to you guys, he was Anthony the Sailor. He was the one that brought, you know, Benjamin Baca, aka Sweeney Todd, back to London. But if that little brat's face doesn't ring a bell to you, he is the villain Vecna in season 4 of Stranger Things. Yeah.
Oh no shit.
When I looked him up, he was so young, but there was one scene where it looked like he was like smoldering. And I was like, why does that fucking face look so familiar? I looked up the cast. I was like, that's fucking Vecna. Holy shit. So yeah,
That's cool as fuck.
This is like his kind of like almost like his origin at most. But yeah, you have Jamie Campbell in there. Sacha Baron Cohen, known for Borat and Ali G. I prefer Borat over Ali G. There's just something about that. Oh my god. He plays Adolfo Peretti. You have Jane Weisner, which I believe this is her first her film debut, and really she hasn't done too much afterwards. She mostly does like a lot of theater. She's an Irish actress. You got the wonderful Alan Rickman. I mean, like, to me that wins immediate brownie points. He's playing the villain, Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
Why? You know, Severus Snape. The Angel Metatron, if you are a fan of Dogma, of Kevin Smith's Dogma and everything. The man has so many iconic roles. He was also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You'll know the man by his voice, or you'll know it just by, you know, how he carries himself in his performances. Like, that's Alan Rickman. I absolutely love him, and I feel like this film kind of was too criminal that they did not Oh, thank you for the rest in peace. They did not show more of him. I really wanted more of Alan Rickman in this because
Yeah.
more Alan Rickman the better. Timothy Spalls. So if you are also Harry Potter fan, we have like 3 Harry Potter actors in this. Helena with Bellatrix, Alan Rickman as Snape, and then Timothy Spall played Ron Weasley's rat, which was secretly not Dumbledore, Voldemort's like kind of like right hand man. He was like the little like weasel bucktooth.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That
yeah.
felt so fucking mean to sit there and say that.
Oh, I didn't sit there and put that. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was him. He was like the mole, the informant that kind of constantly kept tabs on Potter and everything. But yeah, Timothy Spall was in there. Peter Pettigrew.
He's
Yes.
a pedigree.
What was the name of it? And then Ed Sanders and everything, the little boy who plays Toby and everything. He doesn't act anymore, but he's actually gotten into music. So that's where he's at. This is like an outstanding, wonderful cast of character actors. Some of them that deserve more screen time and everything. But yeah, no, you can't go wrong with a Johnny Depp. At least in this era, Johnny Depp and Helena like tag teaming, they practically knocked it out of the park for everything that was said. What were some of your favorite parts of this film?
I mean, all the musical aspects of it. I loved all of the pieces. They were done so beautifully. I loved just the cinematic effects, how dark and you were there. You know, you could feel just the dinginess of being on the streets and everything. And just the storyline, all of it all around. Like, I would say the biggest thing that struck me the most, though, was just the cinematic quality of it. Just feeling like you were actually there and immersed within the experience and this whole storyline adventure of horror.
of like horror and fun to add our Andy from Parks and Rec fun. I want to ask favorite song from there. There's quite a few that get repeated throughout different moments, but favorite song from
when he gets reunited with his straight razors. I can't remember the title, but the Hello My Friends, I think is what it is.
Yes. Where it's, there's just, it's like the iconic moment where Jason finds his mask or Freddy puts on the glove.
You're like, oh, some shit's about to go down.
Which you did show us your straight razor. Your is it like is it a replicated prop from the film and everything? Like it was just someone that replicated the straight razor?
Yeah, it's just a duplicate one. It's metal and it is a metal blade and everything, so I can't really fucks with it because it'll mess you up.
Yeah, but like let's not do that for the sake of
everything.
Yeah.
We love Sweeney Todd piece to have,
but we don't need the blood splatter effects on the camera to add that effect. Which I did mention to Anelli, who I was watching with this yesterday. I was like, I think Tim Burton reused the same special effects company to do that he did Sleepy Hollow with, because if you really look at the blood splatter in Sleepy Hollow and then this film, it's like they're using the same blood. It's the same color. It's the same, like, it's not really like runny, but like it streaks. And I'm all like, like, did they still have blood left over from that movie and just somehow saved it? And they're like, let's use it for Sweeney Todd. Like we got buckets
they just had it in storage, you know.
Especially with the montage. The montage I love to death, where like all the blood thing, and of course I'm over here. It's like, wow, he's going through like a lot of shirts to like go through the wash. It's like, because everyone keeps coming through, and it's like, there's no way he's wearing the same shirt.
Right. Oh, yeah, no.
but him killing Alan Rickman, I think that's gotta be my favorite kill and everything.
Yeah.
You had to make it, the big one right next to him tossing Helena into the fire. That one I knew was coming. It has been years since I've seen this. And the ending, I was like, how does this movie end? I don't really know. I remember practically a lot of people die. That's the only thing I remember. And so the moment that he finds out he accidentally killed his wife, and he starts dancing, and he's kind of getting ready to lose it. I'm all like, oh, he's gonna throw her in that fucking fire. And lo and behold, like she fucking lit up like a fucking tinderbox and
Yeet.
everything. Yeeted her ass into the fucking did I say boiler? The fucking oven and everything with like all of her terrible pies and everything.
Yeah.
Just yanked them right off in there, and then he just like holds his beloved, and then out comes Toby to put the end cap into all of this and everything. Um, it's an absolutely stunner of a film. I do agree with you. The cinematic quality of all of that, like, there's some stuff that they do use some CGI, but what I really like is where I could see heavy CGI usage and like kind of like a gothic like aesthetic kind of film. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen
Mm-mm.
with Sean Connery and I forgot who was the guy that played Lestat and uh Queen of the Damned.
Okay.
But he was
I know who you're
in there.
talking about.
Yeah, there was like a lot of CGI for obvious reasons because Hyde was like this gigantic gorilla like figure. But it felt like Tim Burton saw how they would use like some of like the fast cuts when like they would go through the alleyways and everything. But he's like, let's not throw so much motion blur on there because it looks ridiculous. And it's all like,
Right.
I felt like he kind of Stuart Townsend, thank you so much. But it's like it's just watching like how the camera just goes down those streets, and you definitely do feel like you're there and everything. Like there's not like a whole bunch of extras, but like it's enough to kind of like I feel like I'm in this time period, and it's very wonderful. The one thing I cannot stand, and I know it was all in his head, but it was when he was walking around the razor after he did not get the judge the first time, and he starts asking for everyone for a shave, and I was like, I don't think anyone's gonna sit there and ask for a shave. You walking around dual wielding, it's like they'd be like over here, like, what the hell is this psycho doing? I'd be ignoring him too.
You're
And then
right. That'd be scared.
it cuts to he's like on his knees in his barber shop thing, and then Helena's all like, so dramatic, and like it just walks away. I was like, yes, you read my mind. So dramatic and everything. Um, the writer of this, I have to add and everything. If you guys haven't seen John Logan's work, John Logan worked on plenty of horror films and other iconic films such as Bats, Gladiator, The Time Machine, Star Trek Nemesis, The Last Samurai, The Aviator, Rango, Hugo, Skyfall, and Spectre, and Alien Covenant. These were like all like horror adventure films of different genres to take in everything, but the big one that it finally clicked to me when I saw this film, and I'm all like, this like film quality, like the coloring, it looked all familiar. John Logan would write and create Penny Dreadful, mining the coloring that was in Sweeney Todd. The blood's a lot better. I will sit there and say this: the blood in Penny Dreadful is a lot better. But I remember telling Siren right before going live, I was like, I got you the next series to watch. If you love Sweeney Todd, you're gonna love Penny Dreadful. All of the Gothic aesthetics. Just sadly wished it lasted a little bit longer and everything. But we are gonna open up what's left of our time and everything here for a Q&A. So folks, if you do have questions down for Siren, do drop them in the chat, and we will read them off to Siren.
Thanks, by the way, Gothic, for doing this with me, my friend. I appreciate you and your time.
I appreciate so much of this. Like when I can get a guest on, especially one that I know is super busy, and especially like a mom and everything. So I definitely know you're definitely busy with the boys and everything, and that I can get at least an hour of your time. I truly do appreciate that and everything. So far, we're not getting any questions in the chat and everything. If not, then we can actually sit there and wrap it up with where can the people find you at the socials?
I'm pretty much Siren across the board. I tried to get everywhere that I could with that name. So I mean, I got TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. What else? X,
you have YouTube?
I guess is what it is now. I have a YouTube. I think I posted like a whole 2 videos to it. I do want to start getting a little more integrated with that and maybe start making some like mix it up tutorials for there. Because I use mix it up for my streams quite often. So, and I recommend it heavily. So being able to just be like, hey, if you want to know how to do this, here you go. You know, it's already done, would be awesome. But yeah,
I would like to see you do TikTok tutorials on how you do your awesome TikTok.
Those ones are super fun. I've had a blast with everything that TikTok has had to offer.
We do have a real quick question. What Gothic character does Siren most closely identify with in what cinematic universe? So I guess like anything in film.
Oh.
We talked about Lydia Dietz. We talked about quite a few characters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could say Lydia would be probably the closest. I don't know. That's too deep of a question for a quick response.
That's fine and everything. Lydia Dietz it is and everything. I do want to sit there and thank you guys so much. Again, definitely go check out Siren's content over here on Twitch as well as on TikTok. I swear to God, like her TikTok stuff, when we were supposedly losing TikTok, the first thing I thought of is I'm not going to see no more Siren's TikToks. Those are some of the reason I will go through a doom scroll just to freaking find one of your videos and then find how many you've uploaded. And I'm all like, yes, stellar, wonderful, hand claps.
Oh, I went through and downloaded them all. I was like, I'm not losing this. These are mine.
I mean, that's content right there for your YouTube. You can start with the YouTube shorts, start popping those, you know, Siren classics, you know, from TikTok and everything. And folks, you guys can find me at the Gothic Storyteller on YouTube, Twitch, practically all the socials. It's all there. You can find me as James Howe with a 0 on Letterboxd. I usually do my best to post at least weekly on Letterboxd. Rather, it's like a full like, dude, what are you doing with your life fucking film review for like an obscure movie that probably maybe only 1%, if not less, of the world's actually gonna watch.